best local information. Online 24/7. Broadcasting to the Northwest and beyond. Fylde Coast Radio. Sponsored by Blackpool Music Academy.
Yes, you're here at Fylde Coast Radio with me, Lindsey Nott, taking you through till 12 noon today. It's just gone 11 o'clock. In fact, it's 1 minute past 11 o'clock. And as promised, I'm joined here in the studio this morning by Superintendent Sheena Tattum, and also she's joined by Sergeant Richard Bradford. Good morning to both of you. How are you today?
Good morning, Lindsay. I'm fine this morning, thank you.
Great. Well, it's great to have you both in today, and especially you, Superintendent Tattum. We've not met before, I don't believe.
No, we haven't, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And I know that you are a real advocate of having police officers on the radio, and it's really good to do this.
It is, and people do tune in, and if they can't tune in at the time, then we do upload the interviews later, and we get literally thousands of people watch them. So don't get too nervous during this interview.
Okay, I'll try to answer questions as best I can.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'd like to know a little bit about you. I mean, we've not met before, so if you can tell us sort of your career history, where you've come from, and what previous experience you had before you took up your posting here at Blackpool.
Okay, well, I've got 29 years service. I've got a little bit of extended service, so I won't actually finish in the police until September 2019. Took part-time whilst I was having children. I started my career over at East Lancashire, and the majority of my service has been over there. So I've worked over at Burnley and Blackburn, and gone through the ranks over there. My big specialism for me is operational policing. When I joined the job, I think I was just a wide-eyed young PC who wanted to go on mounted, and I did, and really enjoyed that, and spent 5 years on the mounted police.
Brilliant.
And then after that went back over to East Lancashire, was promoted to sergeant, did various different roles as sergeant, again promoted to inspector. Always in my heart, operational policing has been where I've wanted to be.
Yes.
Football and events and planning and making sure that everything, our communities are safe when all the football's taking place, and also that the events all over Lancashire has been close to my heart. So I've gone through the ranks, becoming Silver Commander both in firearms and in public order.
Brilliant.
After being Chief Inspector over East Lancashire, I then was promoted to Superintendent, and I went over to the Regional Firearms Collaboration, which was working over at Runcorn and trying to bring all the firearms officers together under one training regime so that we can all work together. Did that for 18 months, and then came here at the beginning of November as Superintendent Ops Manager.
Okay, so what does Ops Manager actually involve? What sort of activities are you involved in on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, so operationally, I see my role as ensuring that my officers who are going out every day are able to do their job. So from my point of view, I want to sort of lead them, making sure they understand what their priorities are, because Lancashire's 3 priorities are local policing, contact and response, and serious crime investigations.
Right.
So, and it's my job to facilitate them to do that, to be able to put the right resources in the right place where the threat is, and make sure that they can do the job well.
So you cover quite a wide area, I believe. It's expanded, hasn't it?
It has. So I cover from Lancaster and Morecambe. Mm-hmm. I also cover Blackpool, Fleetwood, and Fylde and Wyre. I'm not the only superintendent here, so I haven't got all the big job. I've got I'm supported by Nikki Evans, and also by Simon Giles, another 2 superintendents who work in this division in West.
And what's their sort of role within the division?
So again, if you think of our priorities of contact and response, that's probably mainly what I lead on.
Yes.
Nikki leads on the local policing, and Simon leads on the crime and investigation.
Right, so he's a detective superintendent.
He's a detective superintendent, yes,
superintendent. Brilliant. Well, it sounds like you've got a really wide and varied background there, so I'm glad we've got you over here covering us here in Blackpool and the Fylde Coast.
Thank you.
What about earlier we were talking about the suffragettes and 100 years since women got the vote, and I do know that maybe 30 years ago, women in policing, sometimes a little bit uncomfortable. How has the service progressed now? I mean, obviously you've done really well to make the rank of superintendent, and you never know if you stay. But what's it like now being a female, and especially a female leader in the police service?
Yeah, well, I have to say, very, very close to my heart, females being promoted in the police service. Yes, we probably didn't have as much females in higher ranks when I first joined, and therefore probably didn't have as many role models to look towards, and I think lots of females, myself included, felt that sort of having children put you back.
Yes.
Not so nowadays. Really, really proud to work for Lancashire, who's really embraces females and puts us in exactly the same position as every other officer, which if you look at the ranks now, we're very, very fortunate to have our senior officer DCC Sunita Gamblin.
Yes.
We've also got plenty of officers at female officers at Chief Superintendent, Chief Inspector, but I don't think we'd ever be complacent. I think we always have to keep reminding officers that, if you do the job well and you want to go for promotion, we're there to support you.
Yes.
And I hope that as, a mother of two myself, that people will look towards me as a role model to say, well, yes, we can achieve whatever we want to achieve.
Yeah, and I guess Lancashire, we were the first to have a female Chief Constable.
That's right, yes we were, and we've just continued to move forward on that as well, and make sure that we afford opportunities to every officer.
Yeah, I know DCC, I don't know DCC Sunita Gamblin, but she's very active on Twitter, and she's very proactive, especially if an incident's happened, getting on Twitter and supporting the officers and putting out messages. She's really, really, really good. Really
and very supportive of the Inspire Women's Network that we have in the Constabulary as well, to make sure that she can address and help any issues that people may bring forward.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Well, we've had some questions sent in from some of our listeners. Now, some of them I shall reword slightly because a little bit blunt, some of them, shall we say. Yeah. Now, the first one was about policing budgets. Now, it's not a secret that over the past few years, from central government, there's been quite a lot of cuts in policing budgets, and that in turn has seen a reduction in the number of police officers. So one of our listeners is saying, in light of this, is community policing a thing of the past?
I just echo exactly what you say there. We've probably had a very, very difficult last 7 years, but to be fair, we are really looking forward to the challenge that we've got ahead of us. And Lancashire has always put community policing at the forefront. As I mentioned to you earlier, our three priorities are response and contact, so that people can contact the police 24/7 whenever they want to, and that they know that they will get a response. Local policing and serious crime and investigation.
Yes. Yeah.
We have not taken local policing out of our priorities. It's one of our main ones.
Right.
And going forward over the next 12 months, it'll continue to be so.
Right. Well, another question that's sort of related to that. One listener says they've recently read there's only one dedicated community beat manager covering the Fylde coast. Can you confirm this, and do you think it's acceptable? Now, reading this, I think that they maybe got a little bit mixed up, because we did have a community beat manager from Fylde covering St Anne's Town Centre in a couple of weeks back, and I'm wondering if maybe they're thinking that he's the only person out there across the Fylde coast. What is the situation, just to clarify it?
Yeah, I did listen to Mike's interview. It was very, very good. Or Skippy, as I think he likes to be referred to. And yes, he did mention that he was the community beat manager for St Anne's, and perhaps the understanding was that he was the only one there. No, he isn't. We have different neighbourhood policing response models for each of our areas to respond to the threats. So over in the area, there are 15 neighbourhood policing response officers who are also in that area covering. So it's probably just a little bit of a misunderstanding, that.
Yeah, okie dokes. And also, sort of on that sort of theme, I would suggest, it says here a number of police station counters have closed in recent years, leaving a void in surrounding rural areas on the Fylde coast. Now, I do know this listener was from Little Plumpton, which is near the Kirkham area. Can you advise listeners on how you're proposing to cover these areas and provide acceptable response times when incidents arise?
Yeah, well, please don't think that closing the encounter means that you aren't going to have any police officers in that area, because that really is not what the case is. What we've done a lot of work. Obviously, we talk about these last 7 years and not having any money. You would expect us to look at the areas of vulnerability within our communities, and the areas that we need to put more of our resources to. And one of those is looking at the front counters. So some of the front counters will be closing. You will still have police officers there. We are getting into the 21st century, and obviously in policing with different kinds of contact now. It isn't just as it used to be, whereby the only place you could go was into a police station or on the phone. You know, we've got our Twitter, we've got our Facebook sites, we've got the 101 number, and there are many forms of contact. We've just found that the old style going into a police station isn't used as much as it used to be, and therefore we're looking to make sure that we put our resources in the areas that are required.
And it stands to reason, doesn't it? Less money. You need to have a close look at where you can trim back, where, you know, it's not going to have a massive impact on the local community, but ways of saving money. And like you said, I guess if somebody sat behind a desk for 10 hours and only 2 people come in, it's not value for money, really.
That's right. But it does not mean at all that you're going to have a less police service. You've still got your community beat officers in the area, you've still got your PCSOs, you've still got your response policing. So we won't be giving a less level of service. We will still be committed to provide the service that we've always done, just in different ways. In a different way,
excellent. Well, I think that ticks that one off. Shall we have a little break?
Yes, please.
Shall we have a little break? Okay, we'll have a little break. I'm going to play you a tune now. I play this one for all my police guests that come in, and it's to show my support for what you guys do and also the support of the listeners. It's You Still Put the Uniform On by Holly Kyle. We'll be back, guys, after this.
People will talk, though they don't understand. Situations you're in can get so out of hand. They'll state their lies as if they are fact. Once the damage is done, you can't take it back. You do your best to protect and serve, but are treated in ways that you don't deserve. They call your names and spit in your face, but if you weren't there, who would take your place? 'Cause you spend your life in danger, could take a bullet for a stranger. Always have to be brave and tough, though it'll never be enough. And when they're critical of you, they should walk a mile in your shoes. The days are hard, the nights are long, but you still put the uniform on. You come home from work and kiss your kids on the head. Chase monsters from the streets and out from under their beds. What they don't understand is that you're human too, just trying to survive, got a family counting on you. You do your best to protect and serve, but are treated in ways that you don't deserve. They call your names and spit in your face, but if you weren't there, who would take your place? Who would take your place? 'Cause you spend your life in danger, could take a bullet for a stranger. Always have to be brave and tough, though it'll never be enough. And when they're critical of you, they should walk a mile in your shoes. The days are hard, the nights are long, but you still put the uniform on. Too many gone, too many lost. Is it all worth it? What is the cost? Yeah. Mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, got so much to lose. Why do you bother? But you always choose to spend your life in danger, danger. Could take a bullet for a stranger. Always have to be brave and tough, though it'll never be enough. And when they're critical of you, they should walk a mile in your shoes. The days are hard, the nights are long, but you still put the uniform on. You still put the uniform on. You still put the uniform on. You still put the uniform on.
For the music you don't hear anywhere else, this is Lindsey Nott at Fylde Coast Radio. Blackpool and Fleetwood, Lytham and Kirkham, St Anne's and Thornton. In fact, to wherever you are from here, Fylde Coast Radio.
Yes, welcome back to me, Lindsey Nott here at Fylde Coast Radio. It's 16 minutes past 11 o'clock and I am still here in the studio with our guests today. That's Superintendent Sheena Tattum and Sergeant Richard Bradford from Blackpool. Yay! Well, are you all right? You ready to carry on?
Oh yes.
Well, we've got a few more questions for you, not loads, so we can chillax a little bit. Now, one of the ones that we've been sent is the public are being encouraged to use the 101 telephone line. However, a number of listeners are saying they can't get through on this, so struggling hanging on the line for quite a long time. Are there any plans to rectify this?
Yes, there are. To put it quite simple, Lindsay, the control room at headquarters will be restructuring completely over the next probably 12 to 18 months. As you can imagine, that's a mammoth task because of all the IT equipment and everything. But they're going into pods. I could go into all the technicality of that, but basically what will happen is you will have a group of people who will be dedicated to answering the telephone, putting the jobs over the air, for this particular area. They will still work over at headquarters in the control room, but the new style pods will be better at meeting demand, and obviously not being able to get through on the 101 is something that's really at the centre of this restructure, so that we can get better at our priority, which is contact and responding. I'd just like to bring Rich in here, if you don't mind, because obviously this also links to worries about the police desk closing, and he wants to just explain that there are many ways to contact the police and him himself.
Excellent.
Yes, thank you. It's essentially we've got the website going at the minute. It explains who your local police are. You can put your area in. It will show you some lovely photographs. Don't look at mine. Of the people that cover the area. Sergeant, the inspectors on there as well. But the key thing with that, you can click on it and there's a contact me button that goes through to my email, to my personal email. That's checked every day when I'm on duty. Same for any of the officers on your area. If it's a specific query that you want to ask that particular officer, send them an email through and they will get back to you that way.
So you go onto the Lancashire Police website, go onto the Lancashire Police website, and then how do you search for the officers?
There's on the contact us section, you can put in your postcode and find your local team essentially on that way, and it will show you who they are. Hopefully it's people that you've seen out and about anyway. I would also say if it's something, it might not be the neighbourhood team, it might be that somebody's attended an incident that's from the response team. There's a way to contact them as well. If you know the caller number, you can get in touch with us directly.
Can you not just pick the best looking one?
That's how you want to do it.
that's probably just me. I go, oh yes, that one, pop round any time for a cuppa. No, that sounds great. So what other ways have you got at the moment of being able to contact you? Because it's not just through the Lancashire Police website, is it? You've got different little things going on with social media.
So I'm trying to push the Facebook as much as I can, on the Twitter as well. We can post things out on both those at the same time. So that's our way of sort of getting stuff out to you guys. People can interact with that as well, and we will try and get back to you on there. We've also got the something I should mention, the in the know, which is essentially we can target specific streets if there's something we need to tell you that's quite local. Instead of some of the stuff we will put out will be We'll cover quite a broad spectrum, but if it's to do with your particular street, we can send targeted things out to you, asking you to keep a lookout for things and advising you of anything that's going on in the area. So there is a way to sign up to that as well. I think you can get the link through on our website.
Yes, you can.
It's just another way. Put your email in, put your name in. You can sign up yourself. I am going to encourage my CBMs, PCSOs, when they are dealing with people, just to mention it as well.
Yes.
Try and get a few more people signed up, because we can really, like, it can tell you something that's specific to, like, a few doors away from you.
Yes.
So it's quite a useful tool that we have there as well.
Yeah, I've signed up to that. It is a good service, because I get emails daily sometimes, you know, about different things, be it specific to us to an area, or be it something that's happening nationally. We've had action fraud send things through to us about scams and what have you. So it is a great way. Now, you mentioned there Facebook and Twitter. So what is the page? What do we go to? Do we go to Blackpool Police or
Blackpool Police? We're going to do it based on the areas, but from anything from my team, so from Blackpool South, we're going to start using the hashtag Blackpool South, so you know that it's us.
Right.
Also means if people are aware of this, I will publicise this on the page as well. Yeah. But if you're aware of that hashtag, you can search it. So you might have been away for a bit and you just want to see what we've posted in the last few weeks that's specific to your local area. Search that hashtag and you'll be able to see exactly what we've put on.
On Twitter, is it at Blackpool Police?
It is.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I shall be having a little look at that later on. Although I do, like I say, like we did that appeal earlier, didn't we, for that burglary that took place, stuff like that. It's really good to know, and you know, it's going through to people, and it's a great way to keep in touch, isn't it? Even my mother, and she's in her 80s, I hope she's not listening. Even my mother uses Facebook. She's not quite got hold of Twitter yet, but she's on Facebook, which is quite worrying, because it means she can see what I'm doing now.
That's brilliant.
We've got her on there. Right, now then, so we've covered about ways of contacting. Yes, there was one area about recruitment. Now, I think many people will have seen this advertised. There's currently a recruitment exercise being undertaken for Lancashire Police. They're apparently recruiting 200 officers. Basically, the question is this an increasing headcount, or is it purely covering natural wastage? For example, it says sickness, but that's irrelevant. Retirement or what have you. And also how many additional officers will be allocated to Blackpool and Fylde, but I'm not sure that you're going to know that just yet.
Well, I think, and I saw it, and it was nice to see the poster when I'm driving to Blackpool in the morning, that the recruitment is on from the 4th of January through to the 19th of January.
Yes.
And we are recruiting over 200 officers over the next 12 months. Now, as you say, Lindsay, I can't say exactly how many will be coming to Blackpool. However, again, over the last few years, we have really slowed down on recruitment, because we've had to look at the way that we spend our money as a police force. We've had to remodel everything. We've had to cut posts. You know, we've had up to 800 police officer posts go, and 500 police staff posts, and we've remodelled ourselves to make sure that we are putting our police officers in the right place. What we're doing with these 200 is we are making sure that the model that we're working to now around response and around neighbourhood policing and CID is fully staffed up, and this goes towards doing that. Yeah,
so basically they're sort of backfilling for people that have left the service in one way or other. Because I think everybody knows as well that you've not suddenly had a magic pot of money put in front of you. You've got to work with what you've got, which isn't always easy.
The nice thing is that over the last 7 years, we didn't think that we would be able to keep recruiting, and that we would still have to get rid of more. That's not the case now, so we're in a far better position. It's so much brighter looking forward now as to making sure that we've got the resources in the right place, that we're recruiting more people, that then those people, when they come in, other people can move to different departments. We really didn't think that was going to happen. We really thought that we were going to struggle and have to keep cutting numbers. So it is a really good news story. It's really good to see all these new officers arriving. We've had quite a few arrive at Blackpool in November, and this will continue over the next 12 months, seeing new people with bright, shiny ideas. It's fabulous. It's really, somebody as old as me.
Those were the days, weren't they? We were all bright and shiny once.
That's right. It's really nice to see so many officers, so motivated, so keen to serve their communities. It's lovely.
Yeah, so it's kind of plateaued off really, the decrease in numbers. So it is good news.
It's really good news,
It's nice to have a bit of good news for change, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. The last one, actually, Rich might be able to help us with this, because before you joined as a regular officer, you were a police community support officer. Now, this person is asking, what's the view on police community support officers considering they've no power or authority? I don't agree with that. They have got authority, but they're saying to enforce the law. Why not put that money towards regular police officers? So I guess if we look at that question, I think the way to answer it would be to tell us about the value that community support officers add to the police service.
Yeah, PCSOs are absolutely fantastic. Speaking as what someone used to do.
You are fantastic still. Don't you worry, you are still fantastic.
But it's a great role. You're out in the community. The area I used to cover, I was Deepdale in Preston for 3 years.
Never mind, somebody has to work.
Yeah, well, this is it. But I knew everything that was going on, and everyone would come and talk to me. I was known in the community. I was the public face, essentially, for that area.
Yeah.
People would come and tell me things. Now, that works twofold. If people are prepared to come and tell me what's going on, if I'm involved in helping them with things, they'll tell me bits and pieces of information that I perhaps need to pass on to my colleagues who, the police officers on the team that are going to do the other side of the policing and the enforcement of things. So if I've got that relationship, they're going to give me the information which I can then pass on. So it's absolutely crucial. It's the people that you're going to see on a day-to-day basis, and you're going to build up that relationship within the community. They're essential for information gathering for us.
Yeah, I mean, my personal experience is I had an incident of criminal damage at my house, and two police officers came. One was a tutor constable with her baby in tow, her probationer in tow, and they did everything they should do. They got CSI out, all the rest of it. They dealt with it. But from then on, what impressed me was, I didn't expect this to happen, but a PCSO came knocking on my door. To see how I was, to give me an update. He had a brew, obviously, because it's rude not to. And he came 2 or 3 times, just basically to check up how I was, to give me an update on what was happening with, with the case and what have you. And the police officers were then, in my view, freed up to go and respond to the next victim of crime.
Exactly. Yeah.
He was doing a crucial job, in my view, and it left me with a really good impression of how things were within the constabulary. And I think if it had been left to the police officers, not through any fault of their own, just purely the fact that they are so busy with the demand, but that person fills that void.
That's it.
I'd probably come in on that and say they are invaluable, police and community support officers. I can remember a time when we didn't have them.
Exactly.
And we would police officers would do all the community policing themselves. That our sort of purpose around making people feel safe, the PCSOs do that. Lots of your readers your listeners would send in, we never see a police officer. Well, you'll always see police and community support officers who work as part of our policing family, who are there to provide that visible safety that people want to feel, and they do a really, really good job working with their community beat managers. And just as Rich said, people talking sometimes feel far better just coming over talking to a PCSO than they do speaking to a police officer. So I know your listeners probably wrote it down they've no power authority. They have got all the authority that they require in an area to help people, to help vulnerable people, and to help our communities feel safe. So we need them. They're part of our policing family. I think we've gone from being that all-encompassing just the police officer to being a police family that provides a service to everybody. All our different departments, all different areas provide that for our communities, and they are an invaluable part of that.
I know at one time there were rumours that funding was going to be withdrawn for PCSOs, so I take it that is completely out of the window, and they are staying.
At the moment, they're part of the policing family. We've gone through so much change over the past years that we're trying to consolidate now. We're trying to go forward with what we've got, how we've modelled our local policing, and how we've modelled our response and our CID. We're trying to just consolidate that and move forward so that everything changes, society changes all the time.
Yes.
We know there will always be change, but at the moment we're just trying to get that feeling of a bit of stability in what we've got. And obviously we've got our local authority who are fantastic, who work with us, who fund some of the PCSOs as well.
Yes.
And you know, we've all been in very difficult times, but we all realise just how important PCSOs are.
Yeah.
And that consolidation now for us to move forward and try and work with what we've got.
Yeah, brilliant. Anything else from you, Rich?
The only thing I'd like to just mention, there's a bit of a community event being held.
Oh,
so this is
coffee and cakes involved.
There is actually.
I'm in. Go on, let us know.
So it's something that Lancashire Fire and Rescue Service are running.
Right.
So it's at South Shore Fire Station on the 18th of the 1st.
Yeah.
1 till 4. That's St Anne's Road in Blackpool.
Right.
It's an elder person's awareness day, essentially. It's there's.
Why are you looking at me when you said? Did you see that? He was looking at me then. Go on, an older person's awareness day. Yes, I'm in.
It's just providing lots of tips and advice, and there's going to be numerous agencies and people there that you can speak to.
Yeah.
As we said already, free coffee and cakes as well. There's going to be we'll have a few of the PCSOs are going to be there for that day, so if you want to come down and meet the local team for Blackpool South, and I might even show my face as well.
Well, you'll be there if there's cakes involved.
Well, absolutely, yeah.
Well, just remind us again the time, the date and the place.
So that's on the 18th of the 1st.
Yeah.
1 till 4 at St Anne's Road, the South Shore Fire Station.
Right.
That's going to be.
Super.
Okay.
Anything else from you, Mum, before we finish?
Just a big thank you for having me. I'm really, really pleased to be working over here in the west of the county. It's wonderful to see all the police officers going out and facing the challenges every day and working really hard for the communities.
Yeah.
Really enjoying it, and I'll continue to do so.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
We do need a translator at times with that East Lancs accent.
I know, I am so sorry,
No.
and I will not be able to listen.
Hey, it's proper stuff, this. It's community radio, and we talk with Lancashire accents, and we don't care. Well, thank you both very much for coming into the studio. It's great to see you again, Rich, and it's lovely to meet you as well, Sheena. Thank you for coming in. Cheers.
Blackpool and Fleetwood, Lytham and Kirkham, St Anne's and Thornton. In fact, to wherever you are from here, Fylde Coast Radio.